Hi.
Hi.
Here. Okay. Okay. So we're up to
Giant Zion on the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah. So let's take it from Kavod HaBri'os by Little Dalit. Kavod HaBri'os ne'ach b'chol echad l'fi ma'alos u'matzavo. The cover it's every person is relative. These matching Middos and Shavas Karoi v'yochol do alatzmo lito. The obviously a person. This is what Rav Kook was struggling with last time. It's still struggling with is that uh, 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 on the one hand, excuse me, Gaiva is bad. On the other hand, there's an intrinsic value of Kavod HaBri'os, which applies not just to other people, but to yourself. And what the Kavod HaBri'os has to be is relative to each person according to his level and his situation. It's Mashi Miyudosi, Mishavas and Nachon, and Mishavas Koreb, Yochol do not smoke, be able to toast. That's the objective. Don't desire covered more than your, I think it's habits, more than your learning, but he means more than habit, as he says here. Your habit. Cover amurgo, cover abrios. Cover the cover which a person normally gets has cover abrios. In other words, under normal circumstances, which is not exaggerated in either direction. El shish marslo shalo yifatel libo vavo says yifat, but I think it's supposed to yifatel vavo. His heart should not susim alos amas gedolos. That's cute. You shouldn't try to get higher so you can have more covered abrios for yourself. More self-esteem, as we would say today. Or
Right.
even worse, you have more cover than you deserve. These are both corrupt aspects. Each one has a severity over the other. Somebody who desires and yearns for cover when he is when he's in a certain situation, he wants cover which is higher than that situation. Abish Eno somely bo, even though he's not attempting, and it's certainly not on a higher level. That's a very, very repugnant thing. You almost can achieve no shlemus. So you came and showed us a covered. Yes, am I right? Shlemusa, because since he wants covered more than is suitable for him, he never has to gain shlemus, right? Some people we told to become more sholem in order to get more covered, but he has this inclination to get covered, which is not right. So therefore, why should he ever improve himself? It's not necessary. So the I listen to him. He wanted actually was in order to get his cover. He, in his perception as society, already has that covered, which reaches the shlemus, which he doesn't possess. But he's expanding in his foolishness. His soul as a grave, as a pit. You call your mas umachovim. His entire will be anger and pain. A feeling she based on even his own members of his household won't respect him because he's doresh covered for things he doesn't actually possess, and evidently he's lacking self-awareness on that. אבל אין המידה כזאת יכול לפרוץ כל כך גדרוס העולם. Says, nevertheless, it's not going to cause so much harm in the world. אם כל זה, נפשו תבוא למצבו כמו שהוא. He's not going to, he doesn't have to aspire, he's not aspiring to greater accomplishments, which can be very dangerous. He's happy with what he has. He wants more recognition for what he has, but he's happy with what he has. So, but on the other hand, Avicha Tamid and no mistake Matzav Shuv, Dave Dafka Lamala years ago, he's running, pursuing a higher level. There's in a cover the Shemagil Matzav Kadailo that he doesn't, the coverage he gets in his current situation is insufficient for him. There's some goodness. I'm complaining to you, Lishtadel, like we say, Tosh Lishma, but Lishma is going to try and get to Shlemus. But this Shlemus, even if it accomplishes more than he originally did, it'll be corrupted with the evil of his character. And besides that, he's going to be more dangerous and harmful. Somebody who expands his soul. Lalos, ein malog v'homi malaso. It should be probably lalos el malog v'homi malaso, I think. Lalos el malog v'homi malaso. Somebody is trying to get to a higher madrega and not l'shem shamayim. And there are cases of tachlis. He's never going to have, there's not going to be any end goal. And he's never going to fulfill his desires. In case of and there's no end to all the pathways, which is going to expand through the chachma of his yetzer lasig mevukasho to get what he his desire. The kama tuchal isgaber mida razosal nafsho. This midah can overcome his soul ashchisa le'avadon olam b'archakasa me'or ha'emes, because it's going to distance it from the light of truth. You know, that's when they say about Doeg and Achitophel that they were tremendous Talmidei Chachamim, right? But their heart was the tinois of belibam, or whatever other language Chazal use. So a person can make a Torah also a tool for Kavod, and if they don't have the right heart underneath the Torah, and then the Torah itself becomes corrupted because it can lead to things like with the case of Doeg killing Nov Irakonim. So the Leficha nira shemitchila initially Agil Adam Atzmo Shelo Lisavos Klav Lamar Lo Matzav Yoser Gadol Mashu Bo. A person should not try and get to a state higher than the one in which he is. And then he can analyze his needs, his request for Kavod in the situation which he's in. How much is appropriate? And obligatory for him to function properly, but Mussar of the Mussar. How much is superfluous and forbidden? And how to remove these two negative traits? I guess of Kook is not going to give us the refuah, but he says it's the character, it's not similar. Therefore, the refuah for both of them is going to be, the refuah for each one is going to be different than the refuah for the other one. So when he says, that a person should be Yargi Latzmo, Shalei Samos, Klau Malas, Matzav, Yosef, Mashu Bo. I'm not sure what he means by that, because everybody their entire life is supposed to steig, right? To climb. So, and I'm sure Kook would agree to that too. So I think that what he's saying is that, if I understand correctly, and I don't know if I do, is that there is he wants to put himself in a different league. So it's in the league you're in, you should try and accomplish much as you possibly can. You should not aspire to a higher league purely on the basis of you're having a better self-esteem situation. So, Marshall, let's say the person could be say, well, I want to be a Gadol Ador or one of the Gadol Ador, and I'm going to aim for that. So that would put him on a different astral plane than other people. So what Rav Kook is saying is that you don't do that. You can aspire, he doesn't say this explicitly, but you can aspire to accomplish great things. But this is more of a matzav we're looking at, not avoida, but a matzav. And a matzav, to look for yourself in a different matzav, that is very dangerous. Okay, what do you think?
Yeah, I think, if someone's, so you could say a guy's like he's in the minor leagues. I met someone recently. He played ball in the minor leagues. So I said, so what happened? He said he played shortstop. I said, so what happened? He says, well, there was another guy who fielded better than me and he hit better than me. So that was it. So the other guy obviously was major league caliber and he eventually went to the major leagues. But this guy, all he was a minor league shortstop. He was a good one, but he was never going to go further. And so that's why he decided to get out of the business and, go to work and find a job. So you have to know where you belong. Some guys are playing in the minor leagues. They're destined for the major leagues. Some guys are in the minor leagues, and that's what they are, and they have to accept that.
Right. Okay. So, but according to what he's saying, I'm not obviously Marshall is not a perfect Marshall, but according to what he's saying, the guy should try and be the best minor leaguer he can.
Yes, of course,
Yeah.
obviously. Yes. Well,
Okay.
when someone says, a person doesn't the Gemara says a person could be, or you should try to be like Moshe Rabbeinu. Does it mean he's gonna,
It
go up on
doesn't.
Har Sinai?
Wait a minute, sir. The Gemara is very medaki. It says, "Masay Agim Masay Masay Avasay from Yaakov," not Moshe Rabbeinu.
Okay, so does it mean that he's gonna be the merkava for the Shechina, like the others were? Others ain't a merkava. No, it means that he should use his potential and actualize himself the same way that the others did. The others used all of their potential, and of course, they had siyata d'shmaya, but I mean, from their side, they pushed themselves as far as they could go, and so a person who is,
That actually, what the reason
also do
why
that.
one of the reasons I corrected you is because that's the Sfarim say that's the deal. In other words, I'm not going to be on their madrega, but I can do things like they do. Okay,
Right.
so on my madrega, I should do as much as I can, like Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov did. So Moshe Agil Malas, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov did not do it. Moshe Magil Masai, Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. That's a possibility.
Yes, I agree with you.
Okay,
Very good.
so let's start. Hey, was that a long paragraph here? Ugh, yeah. Well, let's try to see if we can do the whole paragraph. It's a Lifnei Iver Middos. Lanius daiti nirashish is a Lifnei Iver gam Middos. Okay, interesting. Avicha shemati b'shmei the Gava Rabba. I heard from a great person. She'ein Middos Lifnei Iver. In other words, I Lifnei Iver would mean that I'm a sycophant. I butter you up, so now you become a Baal Gaiva, right? So that is Kook is saying there is an Isser Lifnei Iver. His quote says, some of them go says there isn't an Isser Lifnei Iver. I'm allowed to butter you up, even though you're going to become a Baal Gaiva. So he says, even giving a bad suggestion, Lifnei Iver applies. But by Middos, it's not so simple. It's not so determined, not so cut and dry. Shadin of Iver who the Echad the Ikal and Misle Betero Talinon. The din of Lifnei Iver is where you can assume that the person is going to do something which is mutter. You don't assume he's going to do something which is awesome. Because and we see that it's not it's not a regular suffix when we get to warning of Lifnei Iver. But feel b'mil told them. Even a minority works. He brings out example. He brings out as a strange example, but the classic example is that you can loan tools to a person who's choshed al shvita during shvita if there's a remote chance he's going to use them for some other purpose. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a suffix or shul. It doesn't have to be a balanced suffix. He brings down here sharei rubel arad. This is by robe b'mamon, right? It says that. Even though road people buy for plowing, and therefore you should not sell an ox which is violent. You can assume that he bought in order to shech. Can cause much energy that you understand say a zu isura, as long as you don't know that we're going to cultivate a negative meat in this person. You can immediately bad, so you can assume it won't happen that way. A family is already ezo mida she raw beruba, even if it gets to the point of some mida raw, mostly raw. Yesh b'chol mida drachim b'tayva. I can say, well, the mida I instilled in him, you could have used it the right way. It's not my fault. Yesh mashi shtamish the tovim be'teretelin. Avo v'misha barlon b'skira should be oral ezo mida harad berube shimusha yishtamish of berasa. If he gets aroused to a specific midah, he's mostly going to use it for a negative thing. Whereas the Isagam Chol Yisuri Torah, Shemitzvah Alein or Archicho, it's a mitzvah for us to distance him. Once you come call the Vashivios and not cause anything which will bring that. Even that there comes to a mitzvah which is not a hider. Conscious Rabbi Yochanan Zaka Perek Kama de. Basra. Yes, yeah, it is Beryl Basra because it's a low deal and Maskalomo. He had a dream that his relatives had to give a certain amount of money to tzedakah by the end of the year. He didn't tell them the dream. He just kept on making them give tzedakah, making tzedakah. Finally, last year of the year, whatever balance was left was seized by the Romans. And he told them after the Maisa, he said, I knew that there was going to be seized because he was supposed to do tzedakah with that amount of money. He didn't do it. So they said, so why don't you tell us? So at least we could do tzedakah with that amount of money opposed to going to the Romans. So they said, I want you to do whatever tzedakah you did for the right reasons, not because anyway you're going to lose the money. So you see that, so here you see that he didn't tell them the dream because he didn't want them to do mitzvah shlom min hamufchar. It's a mitzvah give tzedakah even if it's not min hamufchar, but he wanted them to a mitzvah min hamufchar. They said that you should not do Marasayin is also by Middos. Alachas kam come to so the other types of parameters. Because Ismar is a relatively light barrier fence. We're putting makeup by using par of milk. So what's a case in which Chazal were considered Marasayin to be an issue by Middos? When they say something looks like you're a glutton, right? It's one of the reasons I'm supposed to drink a whole cup in one gulp. And here it says here it's about you shouldn't take too large a piece of bread. So the Perek asks that I forget who it was on Shabbos. He used to cut a loaf of slice of bread for each participant in the meal, which is large enough for the entire meal. Why was he not choishes for Rav Nusa? So the Gemara says, Mishani came in the Kol Yomi Lo Kavod Achi. It's only doing Shabbos. Everybody that doesn't do it every day. Everybody knows it's covered Shabbos. He said, not for that. Mischad Rav Nusa. Look, Rav Nusa, but also. Okay, Mersa Kibikiura goes with coming on him. Something looked like Gaiva. Feel about the mitzvah deraisa b'shei bal taisei goes with mishum marasayin show Gaiva. because of he's going to explain what it is in a moment. We never found to be involved mitzvah d'oraisa because of Marasayin, except in one thing. A chassan wrote to likos, a chassan wants to read Kriya Shema. Came and showed there about some Mashiach likos. He knows he can read Shema. The Torah is not going to get distracted by being a chassan. Ve'enim about misim chassan. It's not going to negate a simcha. Lamando saying mitzvah lo mean lo mean according to being results. I say mitzvah is not pater a mitzvah. Kim shenachel kaim shleim only when he can't do both of them. Mitzvah nevertheless mitzvah local and rotzi tolos Hashem pater shenam liya vosro. Shmuel says not everybody wants to say that I can be meticulous on my kavanah and I'm not going to lose anything. And either mitzvah is allowed to do so. We see that because of gaiva, we tell substance to me about mitzvah say Krishna. In Ken Koshke Shesroin Achem Xeris Krobos Chobaim. So certainly other types of offenses and decrees are obligatory. Everybody has to be careful in reckoning what they are supposed to be doing. I guess that's the end of the Perek, yes. Okay, so that's interesting, this idea of Lifnei Iver by Middos, and that it's important to be makbid on it. Very good. Okay.
Very good.
Getting the home stretch here.
Yes, okay. Sir, we're almost there. Yep. The ikar is to learn skinny books. Skinny tomorrow. You accomplish a lot more, and you make most of human.
That's right. Okay, we'll have to look for another skinny book for next time. Okay. Take care.